what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy the LSU film review. Again, toughness is a word that I keep coming back to here. Mental toughness in terms of not listening to the outside noise, giving a damn, locking in to go finish this season strong in front of the home crowd. Physical toughness in terms of a defense that was that had a great tackling night, made a lot of big hits, and then obviously none more on display than I still don't know what happened to Garrett Nussmeier injury-wise, but Nuss looking like he's knocked out the game, going into the locker room, must have gotten that Space Jam secret juice, and all of a sudden coming back out there and having the performance that he did. This was a tough culture win for the LSU Tigers on Saturday. And, I mean, just to continue with the Nuss point, I mean, I can't say enough about it. He helped change the entire narrative of the offseason. When he was down, and, you know, I'm not trying to be a jerk to A.J. Swan or anything, but, you know, he had a couple real opportunities, Swan did there, in his possessions to try to make you feel okay about the situation, and it made you feel way worse. And at that time, and we'll get to the Aaron Anderson kick return, which was absolutely massive, but at that time, it was very hard to see how you were going to be able to win this game without Nussmeier. Maybe you could have because the defense was so elected. Maybe so. But it was going to be an uphill battle. And then he comes back, throws that touchdown immediately. Again, changes the entire tenor of the game and the entire tenor of the offseason. And also, Jake, really, I think, should have you very excited about his potential should he return again next year. Because like we said, this was his first time experiencing the rhythm of a season. Mm-hmm. To go through the slump that he did for a month and then to finish with the final two games that he did here speak very highly of a quarterback that has a ton of still untapped potential. So tough culture win for this LSU Tiger football team.
Yeah, there's some like diabolically wild comments out there for people that still don't believe that Garrett Nussmeier can be the guy moving forward, but I think he showed you in the last two games exactly who he can be, and this is his first season starting.
Yeah.
And I realize that the quarterback play here in Baton Rouge as of late has been elite. You've got Joe Burrow, you've got Jaden Daniels, so I know what the standard is, but still, Garrett Nussmeier in his first year certainly looked different than even those two guys in their first season in the purple and gold. And also, like, this is somebody that this is his first time. You're right. Like, the rhythm of the season. This is the first time that he's been the starter. This is the first time that he's gone through the totality of a season. And, you know, there was a 2.5 game stretch where he didn't play well. But, you know, also you can point to different things. The run game was not there. It was completely absent, and everything fell on his shoulders. And he did go through a rough stretch. But to see him finish like he did the last 2 weeks, that's really encouraging. It's a guy that I fully expect to be back in purple and gold next year, even though Mel Kiper's got him as a top 5 quarterback in this draft. I still think there's things that he wants to continue to work on. But at the end of the day, I mean, those for 3,700 yards and 26 touchdowns. Now, he does have the 11 interceptions, but he's top 15 in the country in QBR. Right? Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to work on for Garrett Nussmeier, but there's been a lot of good as well. And the things to work on, I think, just come with having a season under your belt and knowing what it looks like and knowing how to prepare in the offseason with that season under your belt. Now, who comes back a receiver? Those are going to be different questions as well. But just the way that he finished the season, you're exactly right, T. It gives you a completely different confidence going into the offseason than if it would have ended after the Florida game.
Yeah. And look, I mean, it's crazy that we've gotten to a point where 3,700 yards and 26 touchdowns is so kind of questionable. And, yeah, you say the picks, but it's a weird year. It's a weird year. It's a high pick year. The defenses are winning this year in college football. Yeah. Look at all the best teams. Look at Saturday, Ohio State, Michigan. Defenses, it's the same thing as the NFL. The defensive meta is currently winning the game of football. If I'd have told you before the season, Jake, I don't think many people would have expected Here's the three guys with the most interceptions in the SEC. Carson Beck leads the way with 12, Garrett Nussmeier second with 11, and Jalen Milroe third with 10.
Yeah.
Those are the guys who we thought would be the best quarterbacks in the entire SEC.
And you could take it across the country. Kyle McCord, who is the top passer in the country, he's got 12 interceptions.
Yeah, it's a year where picks are up for whatever reason. So no, I think this is a really great year for Nuss, year one starting. The team as a whole, again, we'll continue to get to. All right, in terms of things that jumped out on this film, I think the defense looked locked in from the jump here. That first 3 and out really, I thought, set the tone. You came out hitting, and I mean, what you end up giving up, 10 points defensively for the entire game, right? I think this was their most dominant performance, even more so than the Arkansas game. Probably the first half of A&M is the only time where I saw an opposing quarterback and offense look so helpless the entire night. You know, Brian Kelly's talked a lot lately about playing assignment sound, discipline in terms of responsibilities. But then at times this year, maybe they've had too much air in the defense. I thought this was a very assignment sound performance where there was no air. Guys were perfectly spilling plays into one another, creating like one little example. At one point, Whit Weeks, I can't remember the exact time, but he gets a TFL on Jackson Arnold to set up a 2nd and 11. And the reason why it works is because Ashton Stamps crashes down really hard, strong arms the guy trying to block him, makes Arnold have to bubble and spill, and Weeks is there to clean up with a really big hit. Like, nobody's ever going to think about Ashton Stamps making that play, but he did. And that was all over the field defensively tonight. Excellent in coverage, excellent open field tackling, really good on the D-line, which we'll get into, young and old. But, if Nuss is 0.1 for me, then the defense is 0.1B, because this was a hell of a performance to finish the season on.
Yeah, I love the game plan, and you mentioned a couple of players there. I mean, Whit Weeks, he certainly burst right back onto the scene, had a fantastic game. The edge defenders, Swinson and Jones, had another fantastic game after last week, really being a story as well. Not even in their stats, just by their assignment and how they affect the game. I love the game plan on Jackson Arnold for a majority of the game. You know, you'd have a linebacker and Weeks would kind of half contain, but here would come Greg Penn. He'd come from the inside out, and he actually would have the quarterback in kind of a spy look, but it was an off linebacker, so you thought Weeks was the spy, but he wasn't. He peels off with the running back. Here comes Greg Penn because he's the spy on the quarterback, and he would clean it up. I thought it was a nice game plan because they were given different looks, not just your typical, hey, 40's right there in the middle. Yep. He's spying the quarterback. And that's a dangerous Jackson Arnold. I mean, we saw what he did against Alabama, what they did. And outside of the last possession of the game, I mean, Oklahoma running backs didn't factor into the contest at all. I mean, they completely shut them down.
Yep.
And so you're right about it being dominant. And it's because everybody was sound in their assignments. They were sound in their gap integrity.
Yep.
And young players, old players, Swinson and Jones on the edge, but even when Gabe Relaford would come in for a handful of plays, the true freshman was really good as well.
Yeah, there was a fresh legs infusion at the end of the game where they started to play. They played Dominic McKinley, Gabe Relaford. I mean, McKinley was unblockable for a minute there.
Carpenter came in.
Dylan Carpenter. Carpenter looked. He had a couple nice rushes. I think he definitely doesn't have the twitchiness right now of the two older guys, but he looks very big and strong, and he does have top end speed. Like when he redirected to go chase down the ball, you could see the actual speed. Just maybe needs a more twitchy. I mean, look, it's another guy who there's a million places I could go, but I'll just go here since we're kind of talking about it. Javier Suggs probably has the highest impact to play ratio on the entire team. He never gets a ton of plays, but when he does, he always flashes. And also, I know he's undersized, but pound for pound, he looks like he might be the strongest on the D-line for me, like relative to his size, because he came in there and immediately when he enters the game has back-to-back blow-up-the-backfield plays that lead to back-to-back TFLs and hold OU to a field goal to tie it at 17. at a time when you're still not sure whether Garrett Nussmeier is going to come back in that game. It felt like a very big stop at the time, and it was him taking the offensive lineman and really just pancaking him, getting lower than him, stalling the double team, and then just blowing everything up by being disruptive. And then he came back later in the game, was disruptive as well. Javier Suggs, a great unheralded member of this defensive front.
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job in the run game as well. Typically, when we call his name, it's for getting after the quarterback in a pass rush. But, I mean, one play, he just completely blows everything up in the backfield, like you mentioned, and, kind of puts the lineman in the running back's lap. And so that's certainly a player that I think, let's see, charted 12 plays, to your point.
Yeah.
Right, 12 plays, but very impactful in those 12 plays. And the defense – now, you got to replace some edge guys, and I know we'll get to that conversation later of what you're going to lose and what you've got to replace. You're going to lose some of those edge guys, and we could talk about maybe who fills the void there. But if you get a couple of safeties and probably at least 2 corners, maybe 1 corner for sure, like impact. I'm not talking about just a body. I'm talking about like impactful people.
Yeah.
You get 2 impactful safeties to pair kind of with what you have as far as young players. I think we're talking about a completely different defense there, because that's still a position that you can tell they need some dudes, not just some guys.
No, look, I think LSU has the potential to be one of the best defenses in the country next year. Full stop. Because I so firmly believe in this coaching staff and the strides that I've seen made this year. The young players and the contributions from said young players, the commitment to things like the transfer portal and empowering these coaches that you feel very confident in and investing resources in them, right? I mean, maybe that's the best part. When you feel like you have the right staff, well, all of a sudden then the decision makers, the money people, they're going to be more comfortable in giving over that investment. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.